This podcast is not intended to provide any investment advice. The opinions expressed here by either the hosts or guests do not necessarily reflect the views of PSA, Collectors Holdings, or any of their affiliates. Any discussion of collectible values in the past or present is not a guarantee of future performance.
Hello and welcome to Hit Draft. My name is Jack Archer and I'm here with Ryan Greene and Chris McGill. Hit Draft cracks open the collector's psyche, showcasing the layers of intricacies and decision-making that go into building a collection. Here's how it goes down. First, a small assortment of PSA graded cards are revealed by our producer, each a mystery to the host.
2020 Panini Flawless Rookie Signature Sapphire, Jalen Hurts.
Next, we draft and explain which cards we're taking and why we're taking them.
I'm taking the Jokic. This is one of the inserts that Panini actually hit a home run on.
What's lined up today, Ryan?
We've got spring training fever here. Games just started this weekend, so naturally, we are drafting some baseball cards today. We've got 9 of the hottest names in the hobby. We know the names we'll be drafting, but again, we don't yet know the specific cards. Okay, so you got the lay of the land of what's going on here in Hit Draft. We're going to get into it. Now, in previous weeks, we've had some beautiful Louis luggage that's PSA branded for the Hit Draft.
Some Goyard.
You guys educated me on that one. What are we looking at this week, though?
We're shifting gears a little bit. Producer Drew set up a Coleman cooler with the PSA logo on it that we're gonna be opening. Inside are 9 magical cards, all sold previously on Golden. All baseball players. Let's do it.
I guess nothing makes you think baseball like a Coleman cooler, right?
I don't know, man. I'm more of a Yeti guy myself. Sleep mode.
The Coleman cooler is nice because it can double as a seat. It's very functional, but we got bangers in here. So we're gonna dive in. You boys ready?
Yeah, let's
see
rock and
what's
roll.
Up first. Okay. So first up, we've got Mr. 62 home runs from last year, Aaron Judge. Now going to be a forever Yankee. We've talked about what that means for his hobby appeal moving forward. This is a 2017 Topps Heritage Real One Autographs signed rookie card, PSA 10 Gem Mint.
This is a big card.
This is sold for $2,640 on Golden. I love this because I'm a big Topps Heritage guy. The 1968 Topps design just really does it for me.
I'm not a fan of this Topps design, but I'm a huge fan of the Real One autographs. Mm-hmm. Every single one is on card, and there are tough hits.
Yes.
Like these don't fall very often. And on top of that, Topps Heritage is paper. It's very condition sensitive. PSA 10s don't fall easy either. There's a lot to like about this card. And frankly, the $2,600 price feels a little bit low, especially because this sold in the middle of his home run chase.
Yeah, September 24th. I mean, that was when his market was really peaked. You know, he was chasing 62 at the end of the year. The Yankees were a dominant team heading into the postseason. This is a good one. So let's see what we got next. This is your guy, Jack.
Vladdy Jr., 2019 finest rookie card. Orange refractor, a hobby favorite out of 25. On-card autograph. Rookie card, PSA 10. Finest is kind of in a weird place right now. Mm-hmm. Chris, I think you would agree, being the basketball guy that you are, Finest is so celebrated in that sweet spot of the early to late 2000s. From 2003 to 2008, 9, to me, Finest felt perfect. In baseball nowadays, it's a little bit of an afterthought product. Mm-hmm. And it kind of bums me out because I have such fond memories of Finest being the premium product. So I think it's kind of in underrated territory right now. All that said, design doesn't do much for me in 2019.
Yep, I agree. The design is a little too many straight lines going in directions I'm not expecting. But you know what I love, Jack? Throwing back to Finest of decades ago, the logo is still the same. That logo in the upper top left, that's going to get me every time, buddy.
One of the best ever.
All right, next up. Ooh, This is our guy.
Now we're cooking with gas.
El Nino.
Tatis, green refractor, on-card autograph, Topps Chrome rookie card. Another PSA 10. It's Gem Mint season over here today.
This is a great card. You know, green refractors just always pop to me. This sold for $3,626 as a PSA 10. And looking at the sale date, this was May 1st, 2022. So when it still looked like he was about a month and a half from returning to a really good team. And then, of course, everything changed with Tatis's card market about 2 months after this sale. And now you're starting to see things, you know, Chris, I don't know if data suggests it yet, but I feel like the momentum's heading that way where the Padres are going to be good again this year. Tatis is going to be back in the first month of the season from suspension. There's some better vibes around him now. I mean, this is an interesting time to be having this card in the mix.
Yeah, it is. So we know Tatis is paying a steep price for violating some of the holiest baseball standards, shall we say. But, you know, Tatis is down 52%. His card letter index, which is made up of 160 cards, it's down 52% over the last year, which is tough, especially relative to baseball. You know, it's normal to see some of the basketball and football guys down 52%. Mahomes and Luka are down 52% over the last year too. But you have to contextualize it with respect to baseball. Being down 52% is big. But to your point, Ryan, if you look at the last 6 months, he's only down 13%. And if you look at the last 3 months, he's up 27%. Tatis's cards, at least the ones in the card letter index, are up 27% in the last 3 months. I really didn't expect to see that when I pulled the data just now.
Here's why I like this card. His flagship Topps card and flagship Topps Chrome rookie card. It's horizontal and he's fielding. Two things that most baseball card collectors, they don't dislike, but they don't prefer. This one, vertical, standard, and he's swinging a baseball bat. I really like this card. It's beautiful. Green refractors at a 99. There's a lot to like. It's not my favorite Topps Chrome parallel. I will always love the golds, but man, this card is really something.
Yeah, this is gonna be desirable. I love that 2019 design too. All right, card number 4.
Oh my goodness.
Whew.
I bid on this card. I am one of the reasons this card sold for what it did. My goodness.
Wow.
I have the first pick in the hit draft. Spoiler. Producer Drew hooked me up. This one might be it. 2020 Topps Stadium Club Chrome Superfractor Ohtani 1/1 PSA 10. Incredible photo.
Oh yeah.
Superfractor style. One of my favorite products, which is like the incredible photography of Stadium Club mixed with just the chrome shine and general appeal. Really underrated product. Another great logo, the Stadium Club Chrome logo. And just an incredible photo. You just know he's about to hit a moonshot.
Yeah, I love the overhead photo. Like looks like it's taken from the second deck. Just really good composition on it. This is a stunner.
This is like a one that got away from me moment. And now I have a chance to pretend like it's in my PC.
All right, so now that number 1 pick is spoiled, this is where it's going to get really interesting. So we're probably not going to have a lot of rookies or more unproven guys in this hit draft, but here's one. Gunnar Henderson, 2019 Bowman Draft Chrome. This is a Bowman Draft, excuse me. Gold Wave Refractor Auto, number 20 out of 50, PSA 10. Sold for $1,800 on Golden back in November. Interesting one here because Gunnar Henderson came up to the majors last year, played really well. He hasn't graduated from prospect status yet, so is the number 1 prospect in all of baseball right now heading into the 2023 season. He's one of the cornerstones of a really nice young up-and-coming team. You know, like I said, everybody else on this list is at least a little more proven. This is where there's probably a little bit of a gambling aspect.
We all have our NBA League Pass team that we just like watching. This might be my MLB at-bat team, the Orioles. They are so stacked. They are so young. They're so fun. There's a lot of hype behind this guy, but it's a wave. I love golds. I don't love waves. They kind of cancel each other out. I don't know if this one's for me.
Chris, you a wave guy?
No, because mostly I don't do much baseball collecting. Although Wave has infiltrated some recent Prism releases, so I guess we do have to start getting used to it. Not a Wave guy, but Ryan, I'm taking notes. And when you said this is the number one prospect this year, I'm sort of composing my selections in my mind as we go through these. I wouldn't mind landing on the top prospect in baseball and riding out a season with that guy, even if it is a gold wave. It's still a PSA 10.
And it's a unique position because it's a guy who's still the number one prospect, but played enough and showed enough in the majors last year, like gave you the sample size to where you can see, okay, he can play at this level.
There's a lot of room for like a wave guy to brand himself as that in the hobby. I'm imagining some like retro surf branding, just like a bunch of just like nasty, like low print PSA 10 GOAT wave cards. There's room for it. I can see it.
I know a lot of collectors. I don't know that I know one wave guy. So it's definitely there. All right. Ooh. Bryce Harper. I'm glad we got him in here. What are we looking at?
2011 Bowman Chrome Prospects Refractor Autograph. Bryce Harper on-card auto, big blue bold autograph. It's a PSA 10. Last sold on Golden for $4,500 with the old PSA label too. I mean, it's a great card of someone who I think is like pretty underrated in the hobby currently. Yeah. I dig it.
We talk about that a lot when we're just kind of chopping it up about cards here in the office, especially during baseball season, about Bryce Harper. Like, feels so undervalued.
Yeah, I root for him too because I dislike when fans hate on someone for being like, I don't know, like emotional. And like, yeah, I can understand how maybe he's like a little bit too confident or a little bit like too reactionary at times. But sports are emotional, and I like when people don't close it all inside, and he certainly does it. So I've always been rooting for him. Don't have any cards of his in my collection though. That might change.
Yeah, me neither. This is beautiful. All right, we're getting towards the tail end here of the unveil. Oh, I love this card. I love this card because it's hard to find.
It's the first Sapphire off the board too.
Yeah, this is 2018 Topps Chrome Sapphire Edition. Ronald Acuna Jr. It's got the bat down photo, but it's not a bat down variation. This was his base rookie card in the set. PSA 10, sold for $3,000 in January. I'll tell you what, a couple of years ago, this card was selling for probably about twice as much. This is an interesting one because, like you said, this is the first Sapphire off the board, but this is 2018 Sapphire, really the first year before Sapphire started getting printed and produced at a larger clip.
Base cards for 2018 Sapphire are quite rare.
Yeah.
They're not your typical base card by any means. This card has a lot of hobby juice, a lot of things going for it. And Acuna, I mean, I think Acuna is going to have a really big year. And his price is really deflated after the last season. I think things are going to change in a big way. I've been looking at some of like the fantasy baseball early rankings and stuff. And my man is like number one on half of them.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna go off this year. Things are gonna click for the Braves in a big way. Their roster, top to bottom, my goodness, is special.
Yeah, first season fully healthy off the ACL injury. There's a lot to love about this card. This is one of those ones that, for a long time, felt almost unattainable. Beautiful card.
A little bit of a swerve here.
Yeah, I like this. We have a lot.
Okay, so we have Bobby Witt Jr., PSA graded rookie cards, Gem Mint 10 examples. We have 4 of them. These are the SP from Top Series 2. Interesting play. It really throws a wrinkle into this whole exercise.
Yes.
Do you want a little bit more? If things pop off, you can sell 1, you can sell 2, but still keep some. You can't fractionalize just a single card on its own, really.
This is a good one because we talked about this when this card came out. Bobby Witt was included in Series 2, but as an SP only. And it was kind of like a late inclusion to the set along with Julio Rodriguez. We kind of likened this to the 2018 bat down Acuna card at the time. Seeing the PSA population now at this point, I think there's a little bit more printed of it than there was in 2018, but still
a lot more printed.
But still, compared to your traditional base card, a lot more rare. So it is interesting. This is his first flagship rookie card. And like you said, there's a fractionalization opportunity here because as part of this hit draft, we've talked about this in the past. It's not just getting these cards now, but getting these cards thinking of what could you potentially utilize them for later down the road, moving into something else. And this definitely presents a unique opportunity.
And we love Bobby Witt.
Yeah, friend of the family.
Friend of the show, friend of the company, fellow collector.
I believe this is our last card, correct, Drew? I think so. This is the 2019 Bowman Prospect Auto J-Rod.
Numbered to 499 and PSA 10.
This card has me kicking myself because not PSA 10, but I was so close to picking one or two of these up raw, not before last season, but at the end of the previous season, at the end of the 2021 season when I was really digging into him as a prospect and I passed on it. And these have since blown up in price. You know, you could have had these cards raw for really a few $100s a couple years ago, but $3,400 sold earlier this month at Golden. If you're a first Bowman guy over a rookie card guy, I mean, of one of the next big stars in baseball, this is the card to have.
Every time I add a Julio Rodriguez card to my watch list, the price just gets away from me so much. Chris, I'm curious on the card ladder, on the data side, are you seeing Julio Rodriguez prices just go crazy right now?
Yes. So without a doubt, as I've been checking the player indexes for every player we go through, J-Rod is far and away leading the pack. He's up 104% over the last year, which means, you know, based on the 61 cards in his card ladder index, they've doubled. And that lines up with what you guys have been saying. What's interesting is that over the last 6 months, J-Rod's prices are flatlined. They haven't really gone up or down much. His index has moved less than 1% in the last 6 months. So, and that's the same trajectory that Bobby Witt was showing as well. So J-Rod, Bobby Witt, just seems like people are just, you know, kind of buying at market value, not deviating up, not deviating down, perhaps waiting for the season to start.
Chris, I have a theory as to why that might be. Card Ladder waits a little bit upon new releases to drop cards in. Takes a lot of vetting, takes a little bit of time to get it right. And that's one of the reasons I love Card Ladder. But a lot of the cards that are going crazy right now are like new, like fresh releases, like Top Sapphire, that kind of stuff that are really, really popping off. So I think the Julio market feels red hot. And the fact that all these new cards are being added to the mix, but his card ladder index is flat, is actually like a good thing because there's so many more cards to pursue, and the total amount is just spread a little bit more thin than it was a few months ago.
That's such a great point, and that's something that collecting any modern player, you know, I think we get reminded of every season as a whole new year's worth of products come out, is that, you know, if we're looking for superfractors, each year there's going to be a new one in Topps Finest. Or if we're looking for, you know, golds out of 50 or our new gold wave collector who's pursuing those. The new ones get added to the supply each year as the player's career develops. And so seeing a stable price trend across what's largely a J-Rod rookie offering in the card ladder index certainly supports the idea that there's probably more buyers or the buyers currently in the market are willing to pay a little bit more if prices are stable for the rookie stuff, even as new stuff's coming out and prices are really strong on that stuff. I think that's a great observation.
All right. So we got all 9 cards. Well, actually, there's more than 9 because we had a lot of 4 in there. So we got 12 cards, technically. We got them all out of the Coleman cooler.
This one could not be easier for me. I kind of spoiled it during it, but there's only one right answer, and it's a superfractor. It's the Ohtani. I'm of the point of view that Ohtani is the most like underrated athlete in the history of time. I feel like he's been so good doing what he's doing for so long that it's normalized it, but our head should be exploding like 8 times a week when he does what he does. It is incredible. I think he's going to have real staying power. His cards are going to have real staying power. Superfractors will always be desirable.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of cards themselves, photography, design, everything, it doesn't really get much better than this one. Absolutely my choice. No brainer. No doubt about it. I wish I won it at auction. I almost did. But now I get the satisfaction of owning it in this exercise.
All right, Chris, you've had a while to prepare for pick number 2 because I think we all knew the second that card popped up what Jack was taking. So who's the Ja Morant in this draft?
Oh man, I was holding out hope against hope that he would see something that he liked later, but that would have been my pick too. So instead, I'm gonna zag in the opposite direction. There may be 500 copies out there, but there's nothing quite like a PSA 10 from the iconic 2011 Bowman Chrome design of a 7-time All-Star, 2-time NL MVP, Bryce Harper. I just think this card, it's not something I'd normally go after, but there's great value in this card. Love a PSA 10. For baseball, I'm leaning into more established guys than prospects, just kind of as a byproduct of the lack of knowledge that I have about the prospects. I just like this card. You know, whenever I see this card, like if I'm walking the floor at a show or something, it's iconic. It's become iconic to me at this point. So I'm taking that Harper.
Oh, killing me. I thought that was going to be a no-brainer for my number 3 pick, but you made a great choice. It's, when it comes to baseball, leaning into a guy who is legitimately on a Hall of Fame trajectory and more than halfway there, it's kind of hard to turn away from that. Beautiful card. I'm jealous. So with number 3, I'm going to take what I probably was going to take at number 4. That's going to be the Aaron Judge Real Ones autograph. I have a real appreciation for how hard these cards are to hit. I'm kind of like you, Chris, in that in an exercise like this, I want to lock in someone who I feel is a little more established and I feel a little more comfortable about their long-term value. Aaron Judge signing to be a career Yankee makes me feel a little bit even safer with having a big card of his like this from his rookie year in the Yankee uniform. The 68 Topps design takes me back to always thinking about the Nolan Ryan rookie card, which was a grail for me for a long time. So that's easily going to be the number 3 overall pick. This is where it gets a little tricky. I might regret this pick, but I'm taking the Ronald Acuna Sapphire PSA 10 rookie card. 2018, pre-2019 Sapphires, it was very limited as a release in 2016 and 17. You almost never see them. 2018, they started producing a little bit more of it. I truly believe that's the first flagship year for it as a product. And the Acunas are so hard to find, even though that value's come down. As Jack mentioned, I think he's got a big year ahead. And I think that card is going to climb pretty fast if he does what we think he's going to do both this year and beyond. So
just a side note, I think first year Sapphire 2016 Mike Trout cards, Bryce Harper cards, Nolan Arenado, Hall of Fame players right now, pretty interesting.
You don't see them. They are very, very, very hard to find. And, you mentioned it about the 2018 set, looking at the PSA population on this product's been out for 5 years. There's only 107 PSA 10s of that Acuna. By comparison to some other products, that is not many at all. So I'm taking Judge and I'm taking Acuna, and it's back to Chris.
Well, I had my eye on that Aaron Judge, but since you did that, I'm actually thinking about making a total pivot as a collector. To this point, I've been known as Chris House of Jordans or Chris HOJ, but from here on out, it's going to be Chris HO Wave, because we're going to start the gold wave revolution. Even though I just gave a bunch of lip service to going with proven guys, I'm going with Gunnar Henderson. When you guys said number 1 prospect, when you said stacked lineup, taking the plate for the Orioles, I just got convinced. Plus, it's a PSA 10. Give me the 2019 Bowman Draft Gold Wave Refractor of Gunnar Henderson.
How in the world is J-Rod left for me? How? I'm ecstatic right now. I would have taken this card number 2. There's nobody more flashy, more fun, more cool. Just Bowman first auto refractor. It's a PSA 10. Yeah, easy choice for me, choosing J-Rod For my next pick, I'm going to have to go Tatis.
Okay, I like that.
I have some reservations about this choice. But when Tatis is like really cooking and when he's doing the Tatis things and he's bat flipping to the moon, I know I'm going to want a Tatis card in my collection. No matter what, no matter how discouraged I was by some signs last year, I'm going to want to have a Tatis card in my collection. And you can do better than an on-card auto, Topps Chrome, green refractor PSA 10, but not much better. So that's my choice.
You know, that brings me back to something we talked about previously on this show. You know, me and you were both pretty deep into collecting Tatis for a while. And for me, this is where like a personal connection to collecting came in, because for a long time, I did not collect modern players. I just was out of it. Didn't really have much interest. He was the first one on the baseball side that I got back into collecting with, because during, those 2 seasons at the beginning of his career, he was just so electric and hooked me in, and playing in a nearby market, the fact that I could go see him play in person just sucked me into wanting to get into him as a collector. And yeah, I moved a lot of his cards, after a while, but same thing. I held on to about 3 or 4 really big ones because I just really want to have those in my back pocket when he comes back around. I feel confident he's going to, but just like, I couldn't really completely sever that connection, even as disappointed as I was.
I'm going to share a really quick story. I mentioned on the show before how at the National last year, I moved a lot of Fernando Tatis cards. And this was like a week or 2 weeks before the news broke about the steroids and everything. And afterwards, I felt really guilty that I traded all these cards and then they immediately tanked in value. And then at the big Burbank show down here in Southern California, I saw one of the dealers that I made a huge trade with and was talking with them. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, dude, I feel bad. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that timing was like really unfortunate. And he looks at me and he goes, it happens all the time, man. Like, I'm a dealer. Like, this is what I do. Like, don't feel bad about it. Because I have way more wins than losses. Like, don't feel bad. Like, that happens. And it made me feel a little bit better. And it was just an interesting, like, reflection of like the dealer mentality when they're just literally wheeling and dealing all day, every day.
Not everyone has those like deep personal connections to cards. And it's good to know that from time to time. So
yeah, dealers don't keep for very long either. So he probably had moved those maybe even within the window of the same show.
I was going to say they might have been gone before he left Atlantic City. So, Chris, there's 2 left on the board. I'm okay ending up with either. I'm very curious what you're taking between these 2.
Well, look, I mean, Bobby Witt, great friend of the company, friend of the show, may we even suggest. So I don't want to see him go last, but he's going to go last because the value here on the Vladdy is just a lot more. And like, I've got friends who love top short prints. They live for the top short prints. So I get why people love those Wits, and the Wits are going to be a nice choice. But, I'm a 90s basketball guy. It's Topps finest. It's numbered to 25. It's an orange refractor. It's one of the most explosive players in baseball. So it's not a tough decision. And once again, I'm taking home a PSA 10. It's hard to beat.
All right. So I will gladly scoop up the friend of the program, Bobby Witt Jr., this nice 4-card lot with the last pick. I kind of had a feeling it was going to come to this when I had picks 3 and 4 back to back, knowing I wouldn't pick again until 9. So I've got 4 copies of the short print Series 2 rookie card. We were looking up some Pop Report data on this. Short printed, PSA to date in about 8 months since release has graded 641 total copies. So it's not super rare, but relative to base cards, Jack, you kind of had a really good comparison for this.
Yeah, it's a little closer to like Prism Silvers, I would say, in terms of like a 1-to-1 comp to basketball and football cards.
Yeah.
I mean, the card itself is beautiful. The photo's great. But I think what this does just proves that when it comes to collecting, less but better is generally a good idea.
And I don't mind ending up with these because the National is in Chicago this year. Baseball is always big at the National. I'm thinking Bobby's having a big year too in his career. So I'm getting these now with the last pick in the draft, but thinking I'm probably just going to hold on to him for about 4 or 5 months, move into something else of his, at the National.
Yeah, you could sell 2 or 3, make your money back, and then you have one with house cash, you know?
Exactly. So how are we feeling about our hauls overall? I know Jack's over the moon.
Oh, this could not have gone any better for me. I think I chose the cards I would have chose 1, 2, 3. I might have thrown the Aaron Judge in the mix, but I'm incredibly happy. That Ohtani is next level. Chris, I would love nothing more than if you actually became like a gold wave baseball guy, like hardcore gunner prospector.
That sounds like a fast track to going broke in the hobby, but you never know.
Well, we've got our treasure chest now after this hit draft. You know, comment below and leave us a review. We want to hear who you're collecting heading into the 2023 baseball season, who you are stocking up on. This is the best time of year for baseball cards because this is where everyone's got hope and we all feel like X, Y, and Z is going to pop off this year. We'll see how we feel about these about 6 months from now. For Jack, for Chris, for producer Drew, I'm Ryan. Thanks for joining Hit Draft. We will talk to you again next week here on the PSA Pod.